guys, this is my first audio commentary from all the footage I got on my last trip to Europe. This is Denmark. It's beautiful Denmark. I was just arriving in the central train station from the airport. I decided to take the train because it was definitely a lot cheaper and very easy, even though everything is in Danish, no English. I was a little nervous, but it was definitely really fast. It only took probably less than 20 minutes to get from the airport to Central Station, and then my hotel was just a couple blocks away, so it made sense to, try to be as local as possible. And I think it ended up being a total of 30 or so Danish krones, which is not bad at all. It's approximately, if I'm not mistaken, like $7 or so. I might be wrong, but definitely a lot cheaper than taking a cab. One of the things that I noticed was there were a lot of bikes, and that was just a glimpse of how many bikes I got to see while in Denmark. That's my beautiful hotel. It's called Absalon Hotel, and like I said, it was just a couple blocks away from the train station, so I decided to walk. And after that, I just checked in and got to see a little bit of the hotel. Got to hear a little bit of Danish with the TV, and that was a cute little hotel. What's that? The bathroom. I thought it was very European, very quaint and very cute. That's me trying to open a window to show you guys that indeed I was in Europe, and that's something that you don't necessarily see here in America, those kind of windows, but they're really, really popular in Europe. And yeah, I was just waiting for my co-worker, my lovely co-worker, Jessica, who got stuck in London Heathrow from her flight in Chicago. So her flight in Chicago got delayed, and she had to wait a couple hours in London Heathrow because her flight left without her. Actually, she was supposed to be on the same flight as me, so I was just waiting for her. In the meantime, I decided to take advantage of the day. It was beautiful, no rain, it wasn't hot, it was perfect. And I went to the hop-on, hop-off tour bus, which absolutely is a great deal. Value deal. So this one that I did was 72 hours, so I was able to hop on, hop off the bus, and then also it included the boat ride. So that's me getting into the boat, because most of Denmark, or Copenhagen I mean, can be seen with a boat. They're very into their boats, and it's another way to see Copenhagen. It's definitely something that if you ever go to Copenhagen, I really recommend getting a boat ride as well. That's the opera, and we were entering Nivhan. Might be butchering the name, but it is a gorgeous little part of town. It's so colorful. It's basically what Copenhagen is known for. When you see pictures of Copenhagen, you might see this, and this is it. So I got to do that with a boat. I got off the boat and decided to walk along the streets, where you find a lot of shops and restaurants along the way. It's very touristy, so pricing is a little higher than usual compared to other places in town. In general, though, I would say that Copenhagen is not a cheap city. Everything is a little overpriced, and I was expecting it to be like that because it is in Northern Europe. Their tax percentage is probably around 20% or so. It's definitely higher than here in Texas. And they are one of the most happiest people in the world. Maybe because of that, I don't know. But one thing that I did see a lot while there was lots of hot dog stands and 7-Elevens. I told my coworkers that's all I saw. Obviously it wasn't just that, but they were everywhere. See, that's a hot dog stand, and they're also known for their beer. They have their local beer, and it's very famous. Carlsberg, and I obviously had to have a couple of beers while there, which I did, and I love them. They're very yummy. So that's me walking in a beautiful part of town called Nihon. Nihon. Danish, the language, is really hard to pronounce. I tried to learn just a tiny bit before going so I could, you know, be friendly and say tak instead of thank you in English. And funny thing is, when I first got there, I was kind of hungry, so I went to a hot dog stand and I said tak, right? That's how you say tak, thank you. And the lady was like, oh yeah, just speak English. Danish is a really hard language. I was like, okay, well, there goes my effort. But yeah, no, in general, I would say they were really nice. I loved Danish people. They were super nice. They have a lot of culture. And one thing I learned is that they actually have monarchy. And I know that sounds really ignorant of me, but in America, you only hear of British royalty. But I got to learn that Denmark also has a monarchy. Well, it's not a monarchy, it's a royalty. It's the king, and all that other fun stuff. I know I sound really ignorant, so I'll just stop. That is, I believe, you know what? I have no idea, but I thought it was really beautiful, and I started recording it. It reminded me a little bit of, you know, something that you would see in Paris. I always think of Paris because I used to live there, so anything that kind of resembles Paris just kind of makes me happy. But I know that it's not solely Paris where you see these kinds of art, buildings and architecture. Oh, so that's me going back to Nihon because I took the boat, another boat, that would take us around other parts of Copenhagen, including Paper Island. We didn't stop there, but I do want to mention Paper Island, which we'll see later in the video. Paper Island is this, it's basically a warehouse where you have food everywhere. It's food booths from the world, international food, but it's amazing. It was a really yummy, delicious experience, to say the least, even if we got lost trying to find this place, because the day after, Jessica and I did go to eat some really good food. Jessica is a real foodie, so obviously we're gonna have to do that. No choice. And I sacrificed my time for that. Just kidding. I would have done it anyway. So yeah, that is still Nihon. And another thing that I thought was interesting, and I think I might have had it in the video here, we got to see the apartment where famous Danish author Christian, oh man, I'm gonna butcher his name, Christian Andersen, Hans Christian Andersen, lived. And I didn't include it, but I got to see that cool part of town as well. This same author, Hans Christian Andersen, or Christian Andersen, see, it's a handful. Hans Christian Andersen wrote the famous story of The Little Mermaid. It was one of my favorite movies while growing up, and I got to see a statue in Copenhagen, and it's called Little Mermaid because it is a mermaid. And I didn't get to see her from the front, but I got the view from the back. It'll do for now. I just have to go back. And so we continued our tour by boat, and after that I decided to do a little bit more walking. I went to this shopping district. It's basically a shopping avenue, and we'll see it in a second. But you have stores from Louis Vuitton to Urban Outfitters and hot dog stands, obviously. You can see the Disney store is right there as well. Lots of pubs, bars, restaurants, everything you can imagine. Souvenir shops, beautiful street. And I was 40 minutes away from my hotel or so, walking distance of course. And I decided to walk back to my hotel. That day I managed to get around a little bit over 13,000 steps. That's the thing about Europe. You always have to be prepared for lots and lots of walking. I came with my game face on, so it wasn't a big deal. The walking over there is much easier than the walking here in Texas, where you see absolutely nothing. I'm not complaining though. So yeah. beautiful Copenhagen, Denmark in the month of September, specifically 2017. And beautiful. Yum. I didn't get any, but I ate with my eyes. And I'm just gonna go ahead and stop talking for now because I did my live commentary in a couple seconds. See ya. Is it recording now? Yes. Cheers. Denmark. Here. And she's having apple cider. From America.
No, it's not. Look, it's a Hot Springs, Denmark. Okay.
Oh! Okay, I didn't say anything. Okay. We have here, this is gonna be beautiful day. She's living the life. You like your beer? That's good. You try it, yes. I found the Holy Grail.
I love Korean street food.
I found the bathroom. I am heading over there. Korean food.
I'm just gonna be out here. I'll look for you.
You can, shawarma's over there. Do you see it? They have croque monsieur.
Parking.